Hello friends, welcome to episode 91 of the Shauna Stitches Podcast. I'm Shauna and this is my crafty channel where I talk about all the things I've been working on lately. Today is June the 16th, 2024, and I'm recording from my craft room here on the Oregon coast in the Pacific Northwest. I am actually wearing something that I made today. This is the Petrichor Pinafore by Liberated. I don't know if I'm saying Petrichor correctly. I'm not sure what that means actually, but anyway, I can't show you too much of it here sitting down, and I don't have a good space to stand up to show you, but I did take some photos when I finished this. I'm not a sewist at all. There's definitely a few mistakes. There was some learning that was done, but I am quite happy with this. Also, again, I can't show you, but I think it's in the photos. There are pockets, and pockets are amazing. So I have linked that down below. That's what I'm wearing today. And considering that I am very new at sewing, I would say it's fairly doable. Like I said, I did make a few mistakes, but not too bad. Welcome to everyone that is here today. I'm so happy to have you here in the comments. Hopefully you can find links down below to everywhere you can find me and all of the projects that I have project pages for. Those are on Ravelry. If for some reason I don't answer your question here or on the Ravelry page, please leave me a comment or send me a message and I am happy to help. I'm feeling kind of out of it today, but we're going to do this. So I have a few notes here. If you see me looking down, it's just so I hopefully don't forget anything. Inevitably, when I record, I always forget something that I meant to say, and in my head, I was just sure that I would not forget. So my YouTube channel here has a very exciting milestone to announce. On the 28th of this month, that's June 2024, I am hitting 8 years. Can you believe that? I can't believe it's been that long. I can't believe I've been knitting that long or making these videos for you all. Over the whole 8 years, if this is your 91st episode or your first episode, I'm just happy to have you here and so excited that you come back to watch. Because of my 8-year anniversary, I've decided to do something fun. So I thought it would be really fun to do a giveaway for 8 patterns. So we're going to do 8 patterns, $10 US max, and leave me a comment down below. Use the word happy in your comment. And on the next episode, which probably will be sometime around the 1st of July, I will pick 8 comments using the keyword happy, and I will announce them on my channel, not in the comments. Nobody's gonna ask for your credit card information or your login information, anything like that. It will be directly on a video, and then you can respond and claim your prize if you win. So I just thought that would be a really fun way to celebrate 8 years, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I have a few finished objects to show you guys. The first finished object is my June Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. These are so bright and happy. Your phone or computer screen, tablet, it's not playing tricks on you. These socks are really this bright. This is the color Summer Rainbow by Desert Vista Dyeworks. And I am participating in the 10th annual Sock War half skein project, at least, knit along that Susan of Desert Vista Dyeworks has been doing. I participated last year, the 9th year, and then this is the 10th and final year. And you just have to complete a project every month for 12 months and you win an exclusive skein of yarn, which is so fun. So in case you're wondering, I do have both socks. They are mostly matching. I try to make them matching, but for some reason this toe ended on blue and this one ended on green. I mean, they're close and close enough, especially once they are in shoes. The pattern that I have done here is called Blueberry Waffles. It's a pattern that is free. It's originally designed for DK weight, but I modify it to fingering weight, no problem. I normally knit a 64 stitch fingering weight sock, and these are 64 stitches. It doesn't even end on a strange number. It's just mostly ribbing, and it fits perfectly within 64. So if that is your stitch count, it will work. If it's your stitch count is 72, that will work. If it's 60, very easy to modify. I do knit almost all of my socks on a 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular, and these were no exception. If you noticed, or if you watched last episode, I did a sock marathon where I knit this entire sock in a day, and the next one took me several days because it was back to work and life stuff. So needless to say, I finished these very fast within the first week or so of June, and that freed up some time to make some more finished objects. So actually I think I'm gonna need the sock blocker in a minute. So, oh, actually, before I show you those, I did pull out my other rainbow colors from Desert Vista Dyeworks, just so you could see what I have done so far this year. So that was summer rainbow, we have spring rainbow, and winter rainbow. So it's a little hard to see, but there are the rainbows so far. Only one more to go, and I do have that yarn. So autumn rainbow will be coming up sometime this fall, and I'm so excited. The rainbow ones are my absolute favorite. They make me very happy. It doesn't matter what iteration of rainbow it is, there's just something about it. How can you not be happy when you look at a rainbow? It's so pretty. Okay, now, seriously, on to other finished objects. As you saw in the last episode, I have a whole crochet tote of sock works in progress that I am working my way through. Let's try not to dump it out. Working my way through this as much as I can during summer sock camp. So after, oops, it fell out. After finishing my June Desert Vista Dyeworks socks, I picked up a pair of socks that have been on the needle since October of 2022. And that is the Helgen socks, which is a pattern by Anna Knitter. And the main yarn that you see here is Knitted Wit in their Victory sock in the colorway Creepy Crawlers. And you can see it's gray, black, like a neon yellow, really bright green, and black. Did I already say black? Anyway, it's a pretty color, but I have to say I did not enjoy knitting with this yarn at all. It's a very dense yarn. I want to say thick, but it's not really, I mean, it's technically a fingering weight as far as thickness goes. But knitting with it, oh, it just killed my hands. So now I know why. After I knit probably this much of the first sock, I didn't touch it for a long time because I didn't want to. I do have both socks, just in case you're wondering. And I don't know, I can't tell you now which one was the first sock, but it doesn't matter. As I was knitting this, I was weighing my yarn, and I don't know, I weighed, here and after the heel, and I was quite worried that the second sock I was going to run out. So if you can see right there, I can tell because you see little bits of red added in, I started helical knitting in a second color. And I did that for both socks, so they match. And I went into my yarn scraps and I found this mini. This is Desert Vista Dyeworks Dry Bones, which is variegated. And like I said, this one is Knitted Wit Victory sock in the colorway Creepy Crawlers. And you can see there are quite a lot of similarities between the two. The main difference being this one has these really pretty blue speckles and this one has red. So they were close enough. I started helical knitting and I managed to finish both socks. So between the two, these used 113 grams of yarn, and in retrospect, I may have had just enough of the creepy crawlers, but I wasn't willing to take that chance, and I could have just done the toe in the Desert Vista Dyeworks mini, but I don't know, starting it there just seemed like a safer bet to me because I did finish the first sock and then start the second sock. I suppose I could have started the second sock and then see how far it got me. Either way, these are going to be a gift for my father-in-law who is coming to visit and during the last week of June. So it was really crucial that I get these done. As I said, the pattern is Helgen by Anna Knitter, and it's just a knit and purl texture. It's a bit hard to see in this busy yarn, but I do know that Anna said that the inspiration for the stitch pattern was dragon scales. I guess Helgen maybe is a name of a dragon in the game Skyrim. I used to play Skyrim years and years ago. I was never very good at it, and I never made it very far, so I have no recollection, but from what she said on her podcast, she said the dragon scales were inspired by Skyrim. So these are finished. I'm so happy, and very, very motivating when people are coming and you need to finish something for them. The third finished object is a gift pair of socks for my mother-in-law. So same reason I was motivated to finish the socks for my father-in-law. She's coming with him at the end of June, and these socks have been on the needles since September of 2022. These are the Dustland socks by Stephen West. There are two. And let's see. So again, it's just a knit and purl texture, but lots of different textures throughout the sock. I really enjoyed this pattern. I couldn't believe I had the first sock done 2 days ago now, Friday. I had just the cuff of the second sock. That is how much I'd finished before I set these aside. And Friday morning, I knit just a tiny bit before work. I probably got the first little repeat section done. And Friday evening, I did some knitting, and Saturday, I finished the second sock. It was so fast. And this is not a small sock. There are 12 pattern repeats total. So each section is a repeat. And I think on Steven's sock, a men's sock, I think he only had 11. I counted in his picture. So these are not small, but they went by so fast. I can't remember. I think I do have a pair of socks where I've used his garter stitch heel. It looks a lot different. It's quite squishy, so I think it will be nice. The yarn that I used is Knit Crate. I think on the last episode I was trying to remember what that was. Knit Crate, Audine wools in the colorway Calico Quilt. So it's really pretty, this kind of light blue mint with the purple speckles. You might notice I have these little clips on my yarn here. These are just little hair clips, barrettes, whatever you want to call them. They're the ones that snap. These work so good for, I mean, you could do it for a full skein of yarn, but really it's so nice for your scraps. Because right now, this is my yarn scraps. And I went through all of these and put these little barrettes on all of them so that I didn't have to keep untangling yarn. I got a whole pack of 150 from Amazon. I think they were around $8. And seriously, these are the way to go. If you have out of control scraps, and especially when they're just all jumbled and you're digging through there, it really helps to have the ends tucked away. So there's my tangent, and we have 3 finished pairs of socks this week. That is amazing. Also, I'm drinking coffee. It's early. I didn't tell you guys how early it is. It's 8:50 a.m. It's way earlier than I normally record. But I thought today my crazy sock lady mug was definitely in order because I'm feeling like a crazy sock lady finishing these whips. I showed you guys last episode and also on my Instagram, if you follow me there, a picture that I took of all my sock whips on my coffee table. And as I finish them, I'm crossing them out in pink because why not? So I will insert a photo there. It shows you that I have finished 3 of my languishing whips for socks. And that leaves 12 left on that picture. The June Desert Vista Dyeworks socks and any new cast-ons obviously don't count in that picture, but I am doing my best to continue crossing those off and get as many sock whips done as I can, especially during summer sock camp, but really this whole year has kind of been a focus on finishing whips, and this is just super motivating. So, try not to spill coffee all over my craft room. That would be terrible. My next sock whip that I picked is also from my whip coffee table picture. And this is why I needed my sock blocker. Where'd it go? Here we are. My next whip that I decided to pick up are last year's, was it called Surprise Sock Along? Something like that. It's the Stephen West Mystery Sock pattern. This was his first year, 2023, and it is called Contrast Blast. And you can see it's just a 2-color changing pattern. And I had already finished the first sock, and I had started the second sock. And when I picked this up, I was probably about right there. I definitely still had part of this first pattern repeat, whatever you want to call it, this kind of stair step motif. I still had some of that to finish. And then I finished started some of this brick kind of looking pattern. I have 10 rows left to go before I start the heel flap. And just to remind you, it is quite an interesting heel flap. I don't think I've ever knit something quite like it before this pair. And, you know, I shouldn't have waited so long, but the instructions, the videos, they'll walk me all through it. It will be fine. This pattern is kind of unique. There are several others like it, but what I mean by that is this is the right sock and I'm following the left sock instructions for this one. So can we see a difference? Oh yeah, I guess so, because these stair step down to, I guess, towards my head and these stair step down towards my head. But, you know, if they were identical, they would stair step the same way. Does that make sense? Probably not. Hopefully you can see what I mean better than I can explain what I mean. So anyway, this was the right sock. I don't know how I'm going to tell the difference like when I'm putting them on, and it probably won't really matter. But this is my next whip that I'm working on, and I am using, first of all, still using my magnetic yarn holder. This is the best thing ever for a non-essential knitting notion tool, whatever you want to call it. This is my favorite. I seriously don't ever want to knit without it. And when I have a pattern that uses 2 yarns, at least one of them's on here and the other one is not, but that's okay. I'm using 2 different yarns, both from Joann's. This is K&C hand dyed. I believe it's a 75-25 merino nylon or wool nylon. And I got these last year when I was in Colorado. I got them in June in preparation specifically for this knit along. All we knew is we needed 2 contrasting colors, and this is what I found. So very happy with these. I will say though, I split my yarn, my 100-gram cakes, into 2 50-gram cakes. These are still both the first 2 50 grams, and I think I won't even touch the second two. So I'm still going to have like over 100 grams of yarn left over when I'm done with this sock. What else to say about that? I can't think of anything, but, oh, I do know. Have you guys signed up for this year's mystery sock knit along with Steven? I bought my pattern yesterday. It just came out and I went stash diving. Yay me. That's good because normally I just go buy yarn. But in my stash, I found 2 50-gram balls of Knit Pick Stroll in Dove Heather and 3 neon minis. These minis are from Candy Skein, which is my local yarn store. But I have to say, it's not going to be my local yarn store for long because she's closing. I'm very happy for her. Tammy, the owner, and I are friends in real life. So I know she's got some stuff going on behind the scenes, but I will be a bit sad that she's closing down. Anyway, these are just 3 little neon minis, 20 grams each, in a hot pink, a highlighter yellow, and a neon orange. And I think those are going to look real nice. This year's pattern is called Color Popportunity, which is something that Steven likes to say a lot. So obviously the gray is the main color, and these will be some color pops. And mine are really pop. And he has said in his video that this year's sock is going to be a different construction. And I can't remember his exact words. Maybe he says it's like a construction you've never seen, which for Steven wouldn't surprise me. Or maybe it's just an uncommon construction. And I know that has a lot of people really worried. But I would say that the videos, the explanations, the Ravelry forums, if it is difficult, you will have your hand held. So if you are at all even a confident beginner, I think you can probably do Steven's patterns. He really has a way of giving instructions in so many different ways. He'll show you the English way of knitting it, the continental way of knitting it, all the different angles, and I think it's going to be just fine. There's plenty of other people to help too. So if you are interested in doing a mystery sock with me and everyone else, I hope you'll join in. I would love to know what colors you pick. Let me know down below if you already have colors. I didn't even bother to look at his kits online. I did see some of the options in his video, but oh my goodness, first of all, they're expensive like everything else in the world these days, but then shipping on top of it. And quite honestly, when I went looking for yarn, I already knew this, but it just kind of like gets reaffirmed in my head. I need to use some stash because holy moly, I have a lot of yarn. And when I'm going through only whips, it feels like I'm not pulling from that yarn. Obviously, technically I am because it's still kind of freeing up some space, but knitting your stash is a slow process. Oh, I did spill coffee. Not good. Okay, what else? I better check my notes because I feel like I'm going to forget something here. Oh, yes. So, speaking of Steven West, I have this sweater. I don't have in front of me when I finish this sweater, but it is the Westknits Go-To Raglan. And I knit this out of, I want to say, the 2019 advent calendar from Stress Knits Yarn. Yes, I'm sure that's right because I remember I started it on our honeymoon trip and we got married in November of 2019 and we were on our trip like the first day of December. I think we were coming home. So this sweater has been such a saga. First of all, I knit it and didn't try it on for the longest time, and it literally went mid-thigh, I think, before blocking. It was so long, so huge, and so then I ripped back and I decided to make it shorter. So now the length is fine, but when I tried it on, apparently I wasn't thinking about the underarm situation. I don't know if you can tell just how deep that raglan is here. I wish I had a measuring tape. I don't have one handy. But it's just, I've tried it on and tried it on, and it comes down probably as far as my pinafore here. And in a sweater like that, it just doesn't feel right at all. So this has sat to the side, ready to be frogged again for so long. And I'm doing the Texas Peach Knits Fluff Your Sash. This is her second year doing this. And this year is a little different. We're filling our yarn bucket. So you can see I have many things colored in here. All the blue yarn balls are for working on whips. As you see, I've finished lots of whips. So every day I work on one, I get a little blue yarn ball. The purple yarn balls were for going through my yarn scraps and detangling and getting that squared away. Took out some trash from there, just got all that in a much better state. And the pink ones are when you finish a old whip or a whip, you can color in 6 yarn balls, any color of your choice. So of course I chose pink because what other color is there? So I'm filling up my yarn bucket, and if you email her, she will send you this PDF and the instruction page, which this tells you kind of what you earn for what you do. And that's how I get my colors and how many yarn balls and all that. And it's down in my notes, but to tag it on Instagram, the hashtag's right there. It is TPK for Texas Peach Knits, Fluff Your Stash 2024. But as you know, Instagram, I really am so annoyed by the hashtag situation now. Half the time when I post, I don't even bother with a hashtag because no one's going to see it. If you click on a hashtag now, you used to just be able to see, well, you could see all the top things under that hashtag, and you could also sort by recent, which was my favorite because especially like a newer pattern or maybe a modification or something, you could see the most recent things tagged under that hashtag. You can't do that anymore. All you see at the top, maybe 20 to 30 is my guess. I haven't actually counted, but you just don't see very many. So yeah, use the hashtag if you want, but she says if you actually at her, tag her on there, that she will see that. So yeah, there's her email. I'll just hold it right there if you want to email her for the PDF. It's fun. There's prizes, and I will say it's quite motivating to fill in your little yarn bucket. So my motivation for frogging this is to fill in my yarn bucket. Let's see. I can't remember. Frog a whip or FO is 6 of my choice. 6 yarn balls. So I'll probably use something other than the pink just because I've been using that for finishing. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to completely frog. I'm going to rip back to maybe where I want the sleeves to separate, which means I'm going to have to try this on again and kind of mark it. But I really, I love the yarn. I like the pattern-ish. I like the pattern-ish because, I followed this to pattern, both the super long dress length and the underarm situation. So I don't know, for me, and I notice when Steven models his sweaters, they also hang down really low. Now he's a man, he's bigger, and I think it's a little more proportionate, but I still think his yoke depths are too deep. So I'm going to have to try and modify that, which means I won't lose completely the whole thing, and hopefully someday I'll have a wearable sweater. My main goal now is just to frog it, and then this will move into my whip situation. Yeah. So I told you this is Stress Knits 2019 Advent. It's clearly not the whole thing because all 24 stripes didn't fit. I used all of the mini, if I remember right. So the sleeves The sleeves match each other, but they don't match the body. And I held the fingering weight yarn double with Knit Picks Dove Heather. That's probably actually what this is left over from. So frogging it and making it smaller, I should have plenty of yarn right here in the sweater to do what I need to do. And I'll have to pay attention when I try it on. I think actually the width of the body is fine. It's just that yoke depth. I even tried a couple times to put it back on and just thought, actually, let me just try it on. Anyway, as I was saying, I tried it and I thought I can just look past that. It's not a big deal, but it's just really uncomfortable. Okay, let's see. Of course, it's stuck on my shirt. So yeah, size-wise, like I think it fits up here okay. I have pretty broad shoulders. I'm gonna try and kneel here a little bit. Oh gosh. And now I finally got the length good. My hip is here, so it's not too long. But yes, look at this. There's my armpit. That's a lot of extra fabric. And if it just came to there, like it wouldn't look so bad. Like look at the difference. That definitely looks better than this. I mean, I know the batwing thing is a thing, and I have some batwing stuff that I don't actually mind, but there's just something about this. It just doesn't feel right. And then of course, you know, you have the situation when you raise your arms when it's like that, and then it just, sweater lifts up so high. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Do you think frogging back to like here is a good idea? Because I'm obviously still want some room under your armpits. There's my armpit. If I left like 2 or so inches, 3 inches even, I don't even know how many this is, but it's too many. So anyway, I think that's on my list to do. If not today, very soon. Okay. What else? Oh, I have something fun to show you. I have been spinning these long draw singles from a combed top braid of Cheviot. These were hand dyed by, I want to say Charming You, and that's not right. Curly Q's. That's what it is. Curly Q's. I believe they're from Oregon. This is a braid that I bought, I believe, at my first OFF festival, which is a fiber festival. It's the Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival, that's why it's called OFF, OFFF. And so it's been in my stash for quite some time. Quite honestly, when I picked this, I picked it because I didn't feel too precious about it. First of all, I know I paid a really good price for this, and it'd been in my stash for a long time. I wasn't super married to the color in any way, and I just thought, why not? Let's give it a try. I really was craving to learn how to spin long draw on my electric eel wheel. The only real long draw I've done is mostly on my support spindles, and I have done, oh, where is it? Oh, I'm not seeing it. I've done a little bit of long draw on my Lindrum wheel, but not a lot. So these 2 singles I had been spinning. I do believe the white bobbin was my first one. I have no doubt that underneath these nice looking singles here, there's probably a mess because, you know, when you first start, it's difficult. And then I got more consistent by the outside of this one, and then this bobbin was pretty good. And then my third bobbin, again, you know, it should look pretty good. Except, did I tell you guys, my dog Ollie, after a year of having him, has decided that his favorite thing to do is to find fiber and attack it. I don't even know what to call it. He does this thing when he is trying to move blankets around. He kind of like kicks it back with his front legs. Well, I found him doing that to my fiber, and I'll insert a photo. you can see it is just a jumbled mess. It no longer looks like comb top. And for long draw, comb top isn't the best preparation, but I was spinning from the fold. So I would pull off one staple length, put it over my finger, and spin that way. So that creates more of a woolen style of fiber prep. Well, Ollie took it to the next level and he blended the heck out of that fiber. So on this bobbin, although this doesn't look really bad here, I would say the worst of the fiber is hidden under this section right here. So I still made it work, but there is a lot more combining of the colors. So it's actually going to be really interesting because these two will be pretty, it won't be exactly a self-striping, but there'll be less jumbling. And for whatever reason, this third of the bobbin was mostly blue. This third had a lot of orange. And this third was, I'm trying to remember what the predominant color. I want to say it was more mixed. Well, now it's really mixed. So anyway, today I am going to start plying this. I would love to finish plying it. Being very unfamiliar with long draw, I have to say I don't know what weight of yarn I'm going to get. I don't know what kind of yardage I'm going to get, but I have heard that with long draw or woolen style preps and spinning that you get more yardage because the air takes up some of the diameter. So anyway, I'm just super interested. It's just an experiment and we'll see what happens. Best case scenario, this turns out to be a fingering-ish weight, and I can use it for the sky portion of an Alaska hat. Wouldn't that be beautiful? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a colorwork hat that has trees and then like the skyline behind the trees, and this would just be the blue and the orange. That would be beautiful. But if it's not that, it's not the end of the world. I just, like, in my head, that's what I would love for it to be. I've wanted to knit that hat pattern for so long, so I just think that would be awesome. Oh, what else? Okay, I have one more thing on my list. I'm looking around. I think just one more thing. And then life stuff, of course, but this is still craft related. The last thing that I have to mention is that Shark Week is coming up, and I don't just mean the Discovery Channel series. Shark Week is a knitting challenge that was started for the first time last year by Anne Pinkova and the Politically Incorrect Knitters. I participated last year just as a participant, and for Shark Week, what you do is you declare your project that you are going to attempt to knit in 1 week's time. And if you finish it, that's great. You survive Shark Week. If you don't finish in the time frame, you're supposed to frog all your progress. So last year I made the pressed flowers hat. I made the deadline. I didn't have to frog. This year, I think what I want to make is at least one of these. I'm trying to think. I might declare to make 2, which if you finish one but you don't finish the second one, does that mean you have to frog the first one? That sounds terrible. So in that case, I might just declare 1. I haven't decided, but I really need more of these totes. Like I talked about before, this is holding all of my sock whips. I could see needing like 3 more of these, literally. Like I said, my original plan for that one, which it's not being used for, was to bring stuff to and from my podcast area, just so I don't have to make so many trips. I would love to have one for my sweater whips, which are literally just sitting right here out in the open. It would be nice to have a little place to contain them. And I would also like one for all of my yarn scraps, because this is just not the prettiest thing. And I think it would be so nice to have them in there. I should probably use the yarn scraps to make it, but I probably won't, because I do have a lot of scrappy blankets. And I feel like if I use that for one of those scrappy buckets, then I would run out of yarn. Let's be realistic. I'm not running out, but I mean of scraps. All right, so Shark Week this year is July 7th through 14th, which admittedly is a very busy time of year for me at work. So that's why I'm thinking leaning towards the one bucket might be better, but I don't know. I'm still undecided. I have to pick out some yarn. I still have plenty of acrylic DK weight and stash, and I'm very excited to have more of those because they are just so handy. If lots of people express that they are interested in making those, if you haven't made one, highly recommend. They are just so useful. And then of course, if it's empty, it will just fold up nice and small, nice and easy. Editing Shauna here from my dining room table without a microphone and, all the things that I normally have, no fancy light. But I realized as I was talking about Shark Week, I completely forgot to mention that I am a sponsor this year. So Anne reached out and she asked if I would like to be a sponsor. And the fun part about that means that I think if it's the same as last year, the rules are not official yet, but if it's the same as last year, everyone who participates gets a sticker from all the sponsor podcasts, which means you can get a Shauna Stitches logo sticker. And I'll be honest, I'm excited to have a sticker of my own logo because I don't have one. So anyway, if you would like to participate, do check out Anne's Instagram for more information. It should be coming out anytime now. That is it for crafting. Now, just a little bit of life stuff, I think, not a ton. As I mentioned, my in-laws are coming soon, so I'm trying to do some preparations around the house to get ready for that. Yesterday, we did a bunch of weeding out front, and I hate weeding or gardening, or we purposely put rocks in our front yard, and I don't mean like gravel, but like kind of river rock. And it was fine for the first year or so. And now just even the weeds figure out how to grow in there because it's pretty windy where I live. And I also live in a sandy area. So the sand blows between the rocks and then the weeds just grow between there. So went through and did a bunch of that. Also, I've been hearing from several people at work that insurance companies, including my own insurance company, have been canceling people for having too much moss on their roof. And my house is about 10 years old. I didn't think I had a whole lot up there, but it makes me nervous because apparently they're pulling images from satellite. And so they can just see all the little moss on your roof and they're canceling people. And that just freaks me out. So I got up on the roof. It's been probably it's been over 20 years since I've been up on a roof. Never been on mine. And from the ground, it doesn't look that steep. Up there, it was steep, and I really didn't like it. So I treated part of the roof, and then I got down, and I was like, I'm never going back there again. So I ordered this Wet and Forget, which hooks to your hose nozzle and has the chemical in a bottle, and it's supposed to shoot at least 30 feet. So from a ladder, I can reach, actually, I may not even need the ladder, but for sure I can reach all of the roof without having to step foot up there and treat my roof so that my homeowner's insurance doesn't cancel me. That's stressful. Why would they do that? They're already raising the rates so high. Do they just not want any customers? I don't know. So there's my house tangent. I still have been reading every day. I'm on day 175-ish, something like that. And I finished the Matthew Perry book, which is it's Chandler from Friends, his book, and it was good. It got pretty repetitive by the end. As I mentioned in the previous episode, it talks about his addiction, and you can imagine anyone with an addiction problem probably goes through a similar cycle over and over again. It was just kind of sad to see that at the end of the book, he's writing from a frame of mind of being sober and never wanting to use again. And of course, we know when he was found dead, he had substances in his system. So yeah, that was a struggle that he dealt with literally his entire life till the end. So that was sad. And I am currently reading Holly by Stephen King. It's one of his newer books, and it's very evident that it's a newer book because it talks a lot about COVID. I could do without the COVID portion of the story for sure. It's like, too soon, Stephen, too soon. It's just a lot of political commentary and, yeah, COVID stuff, which now a lot of it just seems very outdated, so kind of silly, but it's still a good book though. That's why I'm sticking with it. I like the foundation of the story. It's very interesting. And we all know Stephen wrote The Stand, which is about a post-apocalyptic, after a disease goes through and wipes a bunch of people out. I just feel like it's a little bit easier to write something like that where it isn't kind of based on reality. So it's just too much. But you know, I'm enjoying the story. I have been getting most of my books lately from the Libby app, which is through my local library, but it's not just my local library's database. I don't know if it's Oregon wide or exactly how that works, but it pulls from a lot of different libraries. And lately I've just been going in and seeing what's available right now. Although I do have a couple on wait lists that have been recommended, but this very long waits. So yeah, that's how I found Holly, and I'm enjoying it. It's just so nice not to have to pay for the book, because even a book I love, I probably will not reread. Like, my favorite all-time series is the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, and I keep saying I want to reread it, but there's so many more things out there to read. It's just hard to kind of pigeonhole yourself into rereading something again, at least for me. Even if I like the thing I'm currently reading less than I would like reading that. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I think that's it for life stuff. Work, like I said, I'm coming up on my busy season and just need to get through it. But yeah, lots of overtime coming up. I think that's it. Again, thank you for joining me, and I will reiterate, if you want to join in for your chance to win a free pattern. I'm giving away 8, so there's going to be a lot of winners. Leave me a comment. Use the word happy, and we can all be happy with a pattern. Yay! Oh man, yep. It's one of those days. Now's a good time to mention, like and subscribe so that when I do draw those winners and that video goes live, you're notified. All right, thanks for joining me. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.